Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. As you can see, we are in San Myshuno, specifically the 131321 Chic Street apartment unit, and I decided to turn this into an apartment for two roommates who just absolutely adore and are not afraid of colour. And I really love how this apartment turned out. It gave me a really good opportunity to use some of the new items from the recent SDX drop, and I just really love how it all turned out. So you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. But you can see that the floor plan. No, that's not what I meant at all. The floor plan has already come together, and that is because I was using a reference image that I found on Pinterest for the apartment floor plan. I do apologise, but I don't actually have access to that anymore, and I can't actually credit the person that came up with this floor plan. Just know that I did not come up with this by myself at all. This is a particularly awkward, I think, apartment unit to try and lay out, and I typically need a little bit of guidance when it comes to floor plans in apartment units, and it's incredible. I love all of the colours that we used. You can see that everything is very bright and there's a lot of sort of patterns that we weren't afraid to go for and mix and match, and I absolutely adore it. We also end up using a little bit of brickwork as well, specifically this one from the new Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. This is quite quickly becoming one of my favourite bricks to use, and I love how it looks in this space. This rug as well, Chef's Kiss, is from Horse Ranch, and it just really helped tie in the yellows, the pinks and the creams all together. And then we've also got pops of blue in here as well. I was really quite nervous to start on this apartment unit as someone who is not afraid to play with colour, specifically in my Sims builds, which is actually really funny because I'll get onto something in just a minute. But I was nervous to start it because I knew the kind of Sims that I wanted to live in here. Again, I envision two female Sims living in here who are like best friends, and they're just like, yeah, let's just go all out with the colour, and we are not afraid of it. But what I was going to say was, it's really funny that I'm not afraid to play with colour in my Sims builds, because in real life I will typically only wear one colour and that is black. If you can even consider black a colour. Some people may argue that it's not, but yeah, I typically do not stray away from wearing black. So it's really funny how in my Sims builds I'm just like colour, and then in real life I'm just not really like that. My office space is quite colourful, I would say, but the rest of my house, it's not black at all, but it's not super colourful either. So it's just really interesting. There's probably a little bit of something there. Maybe, who knows. But anyway, you can see that we're just like we haven't necessarily finished with the living space. We do add some more bits and bats. We change up some bits as well, but then we do move on to the kitchen area, and then I'm like, actually no, I do not like this TV unit. So I pull out this one from the, what is the name of this kit? I'm so sorry, I cannot actually think of it right now. And I actually touched upon this in my most recent build. I was like, as much as I'm loving all of the new content lately for The Sims 4, like the SDX drops, all the kits, like even like the expansion packs, the game packs, the stuff packs, etc. Game packs, let's not talk about it because we haven't had one for quite some time. The items that have been coming with these packs and kits, etc. lately have been superb, like genuinely next level, 10 out of 10 superb. But what it means is that me specifically, I can't remember the name of a lot of the kits in particular. I don't think I'm going to be the only one here. I'm sure there's other people that are going to agree with me on this, but just know that the kits themselves are absolutely stunning, and I so appreciate all of the items, even though I can't often articulate which pack the items are from, so I would just like to apologise for that. But yeah, we do start working on the kitchen space here, again bringing in the colour, because again it's a super colourful apartment and I love doing builds like this. It reminds me of a build that I've done very recently with the new Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. I actually built, I'll pop a card in the top right hand corner actually for those of you who may not have seen it already, but I built a house for a single mum who's running a home daycare, and I did an interior very similar to this. It was probably a couple of notches down from this in terms of the pops of colour and, and all the vibrancy, etc. But it did remind me just a little bit of that build. And I did say in that video that I love doing super colourful builds because it kind of takes me back to when I first started building houses in The Sims 4 specifically, and I was much more active on Tumblr then, and so I took inspiration from so many wonderful creators at the time. But if you ever want to go back, and I mean way back, I'm talking years back, like 5+ years back at this point, you'll see that my builds were so colourful and so mismatched. And sometimes that probably explains why sometimes I do specifically enjoy doing builds like this, because it sort of just unlocks that core memory for me when I first started, I'd say, creating content. I wasn't creating videos at that time, but yeah, it reminds me so much of that time. But yeah, I don't know why I started talking about that. Anyway, I used quite minimal clutter, I would say, in the kitchen. I think because the space, with there being so many colours, was quite overwhelming, not in a bad way. I mean, there's some people that might be watching this and going, whoa, my eyes, and that is fine. That is absolutely fine. I suppose there's an intention there from me that maybe some people may react like that. This isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I love it. But I don't know where I was going to go with that. Yes, sorry, with the kitchen clutter, I didn't want it to be too overwhelming because I think the space itself, one may argue, is quite overwhelming, and I didn't want it to be like this eyesore if and when you choose to download this build and you place it and you think, okay, that's just a little bit too much for my eyes. Anyway, this is when we go back into the living room area here and just start adding a little bit more clutter just on the sides here. And then I do end up pulling out this like yoga equipment because I thought maybe one of the girls is super into fitness and things like that. But yeah, I use a lot of items from the Everyday Clutter Kit as well, because that is a staple in most of my Sims builds. And then I think we start working on the hallway after we change up the tiling in the kitchen, because I did have the tiling down from high school years originally, and then I do change it out for tiles from, I think, the base game. I think these are from, they're either from the base game or they're from For Rent. I can't actually remember. And then I remembered, well, I didn't remember, because the whole reason that I created this apartment was to use some of the items from the latest SDX drop. But I was looking for this specifically, the artwork above the sofa. I was like, this is so pretty. So I just had to add that in here. And so we add that, and then we start working on the hallway. But I did use this rug from the Pastel Pop Kit. I just thought there's so many items from different packs that worked so beautifully in this particular space, because if you actually look at it, there are quite a lot of very colourful items in The Sims 4. I for one, I'm really grateful for that. High school years again came in really handy for this apartment space as well, and I just love how all of the items sort of work together in that sense. But yes, this is when I really start working on the hallway. I had already placed a couple of items down, and then I was getting distracted by finding other items in the catalogue that I realised would work really well in the living and kitchen space. So I kind of chopped and changed. And then something else to know as well, I think I end up changing the bricks in this hallway to the opposite ends off camera. I don't even know why I'm mentioning it, to be completely honest. I just thought I would mention it in case you do stop to the end of the video and in the screenshots you think, oh, that's not where the bricks were originally. So I just thought I'd mention that. So the hallway's done, the living room and the kitchen's done as well, and then we work on the one and only bathroom in this apartment unit. There really just wasn't space to add 2 bathrooms, because I knew I wanted to add 2 bedrooms. One bathroom I thought would just work for these two. I don't think they mind sharing a bathroom at all. They're best friends. You know, they don't mind at all. But I really wanted the bathroom to replicate the colour that we've got going on in the rest of the apartment, because I feel like I've seen a lot of these apartments lately on Pinterest and on TikTok and like Instagram Reels, where people have like thrifted items, you know, they've painted items to make them brighter. And I was thinking specifically like that sort of vibe with this particular apartment would be really nice, and I've been quite inspired by a few apartments that I've seen very recently on social media. But anyway, the rest of the apartment's done. We now start working on the bedrooms. The first bedroom that we work on is the bigger of the two. Again, you can see I think I've made some small changes to the other bedroom off camera because it was way too small, and I just didn't think it was fair and right for one of the Sims to have a much bigger bedroom than the other. Obviously the other bedroom is smaller, but by just a margin. There really isn't much in it. I say that when I was actually working on that particular bedroom, I managed to fit in this bedroom that we're working on here like a desk, because I thought that this Sim was really into content creation. Perhaps she's a bit of a live streamer, she really likes art and all that kind of stuff. And then when I was working on the other bedroom, I realized that bedroom was quite a bit smaller than this one. I wasn't able to fit a desk or anything like that in there, but I don't think the diagonal wall helped. But I thought the diagonal wall worked well overall. It's just that I think we lost just a little bit more space in that bedroom, which was kind of sad, but it's okay. You know, I think it's quite common for one of the bedrooms to be a little bit bigger than the other one in a unit like this, so I thought that added just a little bit of realism there. We just start pulling out some super colourful items here, because I think with the bedrooms I wanted them to have an overall colour scheme, but I wasn't really dead set on them having like one or two colours, I suppose. That's what I've done with the rest of the apartment as well, so these just fit in really, really well. And this I think is my favourite of the two bedrooms, although I do love the other one. I love how that turned out. You can see I was trying to make a mirror sit differently on the wall, and I'm going to be honest, today I just did not have the patience for it, so I ended up removing that entirely. Just putting those like mint green mirrors on there, which I didn't think was going to work until I pulled out this mint green desk from the high school years pack, and I was like, oh, it's all starting to come together now, how wonderful. So yeah, as I was saying, I think this Sim is into content creation, specifically maybe live streaming, or maybe she does like lifestyle blogs, vlogs, of course it is, because it's video log, right? Okay, that makes much more sense. Oh dear. It is a Friday evening. I don't know. I think my brain has just clocked off. It's clocked off for the day. Anyway, we do end up using some clutter from the Comfy. Is it Comfy Gamer or is it Cozy Gamer? I always say this as well. Again, going back to not remembering names of packs. Is it Comfy Gamer or Cozy Gamer? I'm going to kick myself after this video and I'm going to say, oh yes, well of course it's... Anyway, I'm not going to harp on about that, but I do go back here and add this little candle, and because I haven't been really able to find a build to use the really fun swatches of that candle in, I thought this build is just so ideal for that. And if you are new here, we love candles on this channel, and if you are returning, then you already know in a RachelPedd build you are going to get at least one candle. I mean, you're going to get at least probably 4 or 5, let's be honest, but there has to be at least one candle in a RachelPedd build, because I love candles in real life and it just adds a really cozy element to my Sims builds. It really does. Like, I have a candle on my desk as we speak, and it's just making the vibes in here so much cozier, and the smell... Okay, this is not a voiceover about candles, I promise. It's just that I just had to explain why I love candles in my Sims builds so much. But then we do move on to the final room, which is the second bedroom. I do use this bed from the Love Struck pack. I have never used it in this swatch before, and I just thought, since we're playing around with colour in this apartment, what better opportunity than to use this bed. It looks so good in here. I love all the detailing. The duvet is just, oh, it's next level. I absolutely love it. And then I use this bedside table from, is that from the Pastel Pop Kit? Potentially. It could be. It might not be. But it very well could be. And then I did struggle just a little bit with what to put above the bed. I think because the bed doesn't have a headboard, I do struggle just a little bit more, because there's obviously more wall space to kind of play with. And if you know me, you'll know that if I see empty wall space, I want to just go ahead and like fill all the spaces. I'm trying to get a bit better at it, But I think with an apartment such as this, like adding more and more and more clutter just makes sense. So it was absolutely fine. But anyway, you'll be pleased to know that this is the end of the video. You might be pleased to know, you might not be pleased to know. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, this is the end of the video. So if you would like to download this apartment from the gallery, it is available right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box just below. You can get them for free from SimFileShare. But I cannot wait to read all of your wonderful comments. As always, please drop any comments down below. What do you think of this apartment unit? Would you live here? Do you have any Sims that you envision living here? I'd love to hear all about that. But yeah, you all take care, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!